wasting time in the unemployment lines, sitting around, waiting for a promotion. Don't you know, we're talking about a revolution. It sounds like a whisper. More people gonna rise up and get their share. More people gonna rise up and take what's theirs. Don't you know you better run, 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 run. Oh, I said you better run, 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 run. Cause finally the tables are starting to turn. Talking about a revolution. Yes, finally the tables are starting to turn. Talking about a revolution. Oh, while they're standing in welfare lines, maybe together we can get somewhere. Right at the doorsteps of those armies of salvation. Wasting time in the unemployment lines, sitting around, waiting for a promotion. Don't you know, we're talking about a revolution. It sounds like a whisper. Finally the tables are starting to turn. Talking about a revolution. Yes, finally the tables are starting to turn. Talking about a revolution. And finally the tables are starting to turn. Talk about a revolution. Yes, finally the tables are starting to turn.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Brazos Valley, UUCBV, or Brazos UU for short. My name is John Ivy, and I am serving as your worship assistant today. I come to this church because we support racial, economic, reproductive, LGBTQ, gender, social, and environmental justice. We are a welcoming congregation, which means we celebrate and welcome all people of diverse sexual orientations and gender identities. We strive to welcome people across diversities of race, age, ability, immigration status, and belief. We also are a congregation working for reproductive justice. So whoever you are, wherever you have come from, wherever you are in life's journey, you are welcome here. We encourage everyone to visit our website, brazos-uu.org. During this time of pandemic and in the midst of our building project, the website and our weekly services are our church home. If you might like to contribute your musical talents, if you have a great story to share about your life's journey, or if you have a passion for social justice, we would love to hear from you. If you are interested in getting involved, you can find opportunities on our website. To learn more about our community and what's happening, you can join our email list and sign up to receive our monthly newsletter. And you can also find us on social media by searching UUCBV. Today, Pastor Kiya will speak on building the beloved community.
Our call to worship this morning comes from author and activist Bell Hooks. Beloved community is formed not by the eradication of difference, but by its affirmation, by each of us claiming the identities and cultural legacies that shape who we are and how we live in the world. Bell hooks.
I invite you to light your own chalice, if you have one, as I light our chalice today. Please join me in saying the chalice lighting words. We light the chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, as a beacon of hope for all who seek justice, dignity, and compassion, and in celebration of the life of truth and meaning we share together. Now, all please join me in saying our affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Our time for all ages this week is called The Journey of the Birds. It's inspired by an ancient epic poem called The Conference of the Birds by the Persian Sufi writer Fariduddin Attar. Once upon a time, all the birds in the land decided that they needed a leader for their community. A leader, they thought, would make their community stronger. Representatives of all the bird species gathered together to discuss finding a leader. A leader will tell us the right thing to do, said the robin. Our leader must be wise, said the owl. A leader must believe we each are important, big and small, said the sparrow. I want the leader to be caring, like a friend, said the dove. Yes, the leader helps us share and get along better, said the jay. The leader must make us feel safe, said the hawk. I know where you can find such a leader, said the hoopoo bird. It's a simorg, and it lives far away from here. The birds were very excited. They said they were willing to go anywhere to find a leader. It might be dangerous, said the hoopoo. A few birds looked troubled, but all the birds voted to go and find the simorg. The hoopoo took off, and all the birds followed. They flew at night. They flew in sunshine. Days and days passed. Some birds got tired and left the group. Other birds were filled with doubt. How did they know this simorg really existed? Only the hoopoo bird had ever heard of this other bird. Some of the doubters dropped out, but the others kept flying. One valley was filled with fiery mountains. All the birds were afraid. I'm too small to make it over that mountain, lamented the sparrow. No, keep flying. We can make it together. We will help you. And they did. The strong flyers helped the weak flyers. The birds with good vision helped find food for the group. Along the journey, the birds learned how to respect, share, and care for each other in a better way. It seemed that every bird had something special and unique to offer that made the journey easier. Finally, the hoopoo announced, "We are here!" The other birds looked around in anticipation. "But where's the simorg? We don't see it," they cried. "Come, it's over here," said the hoopoo. The birds stood beside hoopoo and realized they were on the edge of a lake. They looked in and only saw their own reflections. Then they understood. The simorg was not another bird. The simorg was all of them, and all of them were the simorg. They remembered that each of them had something good and strong and special inside of them, and that each bird had gifts to bring to the community. They were all that was needed to keep the community strong. They knew now that together they could do anything. The end.
Our prayer this morning comes from Shannon Long. Spirit of life, may we dig deeply, examine closely, speak truthfully, and work diligently, tirelessly, honestly, lovingly, empathetically, and continuously, so all among us feel welcome and loved. Shannon Long. the one and only test of a valid religious idea, doctrinal statement, spiritual experience, or devotional practice was that it must lead directly to practical compassion. If your understanding of the divine made you kinder, more empathetic, and impelled you to express this sympathy in concrete acts of loving kindness, this was good theology. But if your notion of God made you unkind, belligerent, cruel, or self-righteous, or it led you to kill in God's name, it was bad theology. Compassion was the litmus test for the prophets of Israel, for the rabbis of the Talmud, for Jesus, for Paul, and for Muhammad, not to mention Confucius, Lao Tzu, the Buddha, or the sages of the Upanishads. Karen Armstrong, The Spiral Staircase, My Climb Out of Darkness, 2004.
Traveling through this world alone, there is no sickness, toil, or danger in that fair land to which I go. I'm going home to see my mother. I'm going home, no more to roam. I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just going over home. I know dark clouds will gather round me. I know my way is rough and steep. Golden fields lie just before me, where the redeemed shall ever sleep. I'm going home to see my mother. I'm going home, no more to roam. I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just going over home. I'm just going over home. I'm just going over home.
Good morning. My name is Kiya Heartwood. I'm the pastor here, and I'm talking to you today about building the beloved community. Well, besides having beautiful alliteration, what does that mean? Is this just pie in the sky? Is it some dream? The definition of a beloved community is spreading. But what is a beloved community? Well, what Dr. King said was a community in which everyone is cared for, absent of poverty, hunger, and hate. He popularized the term during his lifetime of activism, and he believed that such a community was possible. I believe it's possible. How about you? For me, as a Unitarian Universalist, when I say I want to build a beloved community, what I'm talking about is a multicultural, multiracial, multi-class, a shared power, an equal place, a transparent place, a place where everyone is heard and valued for what they contribute, and not just the money that they contribute, but our spirit and our energy and our hearts. It's something that's built fundamentally on compassion and kindness. Like the best religions, it's sort of a tool to judge religions by. In class, when we would go through all the world religions in seminary, I pretty much determined whether or not I'm going to pay attention to that religion as a source by what the outcomes are for the people in that religion and for that people that are outside that religion. So are they hating other people? Are they othering other people? Is it some sort of binary system, an us and them kind of system? Or is there a way to incorporate new people into that community? Is it a place with a lot of diversity and difference of opinion, and that's tolerated? In fact, more than tolerated, encouraged, without diminishing that love that's within that community. It's really tricky. What can you get kicked out for? Because humans are hard to get along with. Can I get a witness? We are sometimes not the people that we want to be. We get mad at ourselves, let alone other people that don't live in our house. It's difficult, right? People are difficult, but they're beautiful. And we all dream of it, this idea of a beloved community. We dream of community and integration and elevation and justice and equity in our human relations. It's in our principles. And we are in a unique place where we're building that community. We can build our small version of that community and invite other people to join us and to expand that community to include more than just our congregation, more than just our community, more than just our state, more than just our country. I'm looking forward to it. I also want to talk about how we can use our principles, our Unitarian Universalist principles and sources as inspiration and sort of a fluid enclosure that we can bounce our balls against and check and see how we're doing. Especially when we're wrestling with such big things as white supremacy culture and the structural racism that we breathe in and out like the water if we're fish. It's all around us and we might not even notice it until we're diverse enough to notice it. Not all our decisions are so clearly one thing or the other, so binary. A lot of decisions that we have to make are gray and not clear, not a clear right or wrong. And we're going to make mistakes. And how do we deal with mistakes? So those of you who are familiar with the principles, the 7 principles that we have accepted most of our congregations as the thing that holds us all together, from atheist to Christian to Buddhist to agnostic. What holds us together are our principles. And if you've been a UU a long time, you know these principles came out in the 1980s and that we are constantly working to improve them and incorporating them, including an 8th principle, which is starting to be talked about at different congregations and at General Assembly. And our own Brian is going to talk about it next week and give a talk about it. So we'll have a chance to discuss the 8th principle. The first principle is the inherent worth and dignity of every person. The divine spark we see within every person. The second principle is justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. And the third is acceptance of one another and encouragement, not just tolerance, but encouragement to spiritual growth in our own paths within our congregation. The fourth principle is sometimes called the democracy principle, but a free and responsible search for truth and meaning and the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. The sixth principle, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. And then the seventh principle, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. They're so beautiful, our seven principles. They're so beautiful and so difficult to do when you go, okay, how am I living those principles in my day-to-day interactions with people in my family, with my children, with my spouse, with my partner? How am I doing that in my day-to-day conversations with my people at work I work with, or people I'm on committees with, or people I'm in the congregation with? Because we all might have different ideas about how to do things, and we're going to disagree. And how do we do that well and model the kind of world, the kind of beloved community that we want? How do we model that world that we want, that beloved community, in our day-to-day interactions, and forgive ourselves and our friends and others when they fall short and they don't make it? Can you stay in this congregation? Can you be in community and be in covenant when you're human and you make mistakes and you might break that covenant? I think the main thing is that you try and that you are aware that how your actions and words may be interpreted by someone else, may not be what you intended, but there is an impact involved. So it's not just your intention that matters, it's your impact. Some people are better at one thing or another, but we all fall short. And it's easy to beat yourself up and feel like, oh, I can never do this, so I'm just not going to even try. But I think we can continue to develop strategies to do this kind of work and improve ourselves and improve our relationships with other people. And I think there are plenty of people here who want to work on that. And it's something we need to work at, because we are building the beloved community in our congregation. We're getting ready to build a building, and there's room in that building for twice as many people for one service, let alone two services or three. I mean, we have room for people. It's not a problem. We're going to have room to welcome new people, but are we going to be mentally and our community prepared to welcome people and make it where we value the people that are already here, who've done the work for years and years and years and have built relationships with each other? And how can we make a place that's fair and open to the people who belong here but haven't got here yet? That is the challenge that we are facing, friends. That is the challenge of this community. I'm excited about it. I hope you are too. I think most of the time we do a great job, but we're human and we make mistakes. And one of the signs of a healthy church, no matter what size it is can you make a mistake and still be loved in the community? Is there room for you to make amends? Is there room for you to grow and make mistakes, learn from them, and move on? Will people give you enough room to do that, while giving you enough boundaries to protect the overall integrity and safety of our community? That's what covenants are for. That's what those principles are for. And that is the biggest challenge. I could preach on this every Sunday, and there would still be stuff we could learn and still be stuff that we could do. Me included, I'm always preaching to myself as well. I want us to be recognized for what we do right as well as what we do wrong. What we don't want to do is be a gotcha culture where you're just sitting around waiting for somebody to make a mistake and then you call them out on it. That kind of call out kind of culture, that shaming culture, that does not help people grow. That makes people go away and keeps your church a certain size that you may not want to be. because the size church we are is challenging to all the people in it, in that there's so much work to do to be the church that we want to be, and we start burning each other out and not appreciating each other as much as we might want to. So what I want you to notice is, what are your habits of attention? Do you tell people when they do things right? Do you notice when they do things right? When they're always there at the meeting and they're faithfully on time and they do what they say they're going to do? Do you take the time to tell them that they did really a wonderful thing and that they're wonderful? I think we're real guilty of that. We acknowledge around people how much they mean to us, but we might not tell them to their face. And some of it's the way our brains are wired, because we're wired to notice things that are wrong and give it more weight than the things that are right. But what I would like you to experiment with, if you want to, if this is resonating with you in any way, is experimenting with, just telling people how much you appreciate them and being grateful, and even small things, but maybe 3 times to every time you bring up a problem. Some of us feel like we are the only people who are going to notice the things that are wrong, and it's our duty to the community to point them out. And I want to encourage you, if you feel that way, to maybe back up a little bit and find 3 things that are right for everything that's wrong. What kind of things can we do in a practical sense to start living our principles and making our culture ready as a community to go out into the wider community and invite the people that belong at our place, belong with us? They're out there, and they're going to find us naturally if we create a healthy, vibrant, social justice, friendly church that they can come to. It's going to happen. It's going to happen naturally. And we will live in the beloved community we all dream of. Dr. King said, interrelatedness was rooted in the fundamental belief in the kinship of all persons. He believed that all life is part of a single process. All persons are sisters and brothers, or some place in between. And we all have a place in the beloved community. In fact, if you're kicking people out of your community, there might be something wrong with the community. Incorporate people who disagree with us or who have different value systems. And how can we find a way to communicate and live peacefully on the same planet? This is going to be vital, and more vital all the time, as we start dividing over things like climate change, or whether to wear masks or not, or get vaccinated, or who we're going to vote for, or what kind of world we want to live in. The world's going to change whether we want it to or not, and we need to embrace the things that we carry from our ancestors and from our community and from our ancestors, Unitarian Universalist ancestors, and the people who came before us, who paved the way for us to be here right now and build this place. Let's do our best. I know you will. Another thing Dr. King said that I think about a lot as a minister, he said, everyone could be great because everyone can serve. And I ask you to ask yourself, how can you serve, or how are you serving? And notice the people that are serving around you and thank them, and be kind and be compassionate and try to live our values. It's simple and hard, and we're going to fail, but at least we're trying. And I know that you will continue to be the wonders that you are. We need our introverts and we need our extroverts. We need our people who talk a lot, and the people who read a lot, and the people who listen better than they talk, and the people who like to be active, and the people who can't hold still. We need all those people. We need the mediators and the walkers. We need all those people. We just need to encourage people to be authentic, to feel comfortable and safe in our place, in our beloved community, and make that place welcoming to the people who've been here a long time, where we value and nurture them and honor them, and also welcome to the new people that are coming, and they're coming. And build the church for the people who are here and the people who will be here. I'm going to leave you with something Dr. King said. Love is creative and redemptive. Love builds up and unites. Hate tears down. The aftermath of the love method is reconciliation and creation of the beloved community. Only love can do that. Yes, love, which means understanding, creative, redemptive goodwill, even for one's enemies. It's the solution to the race problem. Dr. King said that in 1957, and we're still saying it now. May it be so. Thank you for listening.
If we were having worship service in person, this is a time when we would pass the basket. This church shares the proceeds of the offering plate donation every week to support important nonprofit organizations with which we work. This month, we are proud to support the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, UUSC, starting in October through December. The UUSC is a nonprofit, non-sectarian associate member organization of the Unitarian Universalist Association that works to provide disaster relief and promote human rights and social justice around the world. If you wish to make an offering, you can mail your check, or for your convenience, you can donate online. On our homepage at brazos-uu.org, you can find our mailing address at the bottom, and at the top, you'll see a Donate Here link. In the chat box, you will see that link now. Please be as generous as you can. May each of us look into our hearts. How much love, how much generosity, how much faith, how much gratitude, how much hope is there? We give thanks for these gifts we have given, for those we receive, and for each other. Blessed be.
Thank you for joining us. My name is Herbert Washington, Artistic Director of the Phoenix Boys Choir. 36 students from regions throughout Arizona were selected by their music educator. Their work is pioneering, as they are the first wave to create the Governor's Arts Chamber Youth Singers of Arizona, specifically for this event.
Get ready for the revolution. It's coming to you now. 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 You're rising up, now the tide is turning. Feel the heat, yeah, the fire's burning. No hesitation, our generation leads us onward. Start the clock, now the game's changing. Curtains up and the lights are blazing.
Now, please join me in extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we gather together again.
Remember the way of the wind and breathe and blow. Remember the way of the fire, sparkle and glitter and glow. Remember the way of the water and ebb and flow. Remember the way of the earth and grow. Go in peace.